So this is my beautiful model, okay? She's already pre-done. I toned her with Joico and then lifted her with Trionics lightener. Color line. And look at this beautiful, beautiful blend, you guys. If you guys can see it in the video, how gorgeous is this? That tone, that mauve tone, so pretty, so iridescent, and that's what we were going for. So I'm going to be teaching the same thing. It's called hairigami. Who's here heard of that technique? Awesome, awesome. And that way, I'm going to be doing my next model as a natural, so you can see both, vivid or natural, and that way they both can look amazing with the same technique, okay?
Hey guys, so for LPJ, I represent the haircutting portion of LPJ. So I'm going to be showing you guys 2 different haircuts today that are very similar in their shape and technique, but they have really different vibes just based off of the tools and the length that I take them. For her, we've done something that basically is short, round graduation on the sides, right? And then, of course, we added a little bit of an accent. So not just short, round graduation. So we did a short, round graduation, and then with my scissors, I cut in this shape. We pre-lightened it, and then we used our vivid tones to just add this little bit of gradient. And then my protege, Chelsea, did this like really beautiful avant-garde makeup on her, which I think looks really beautiful. Thank you so much, Chelsea. I appreciate that. Yeah, Chelsea. So, and then we have a disconnected top with a slight short to long layer. So it's a concave layer and a short round graduation. We use clippers to cut this graduation, so it ends up being a bit stronger. It's a little bit bolder. It can even, be like leaning on the side of androgynous, which I think is like really cool right now. It's like totally in to be kind of like crossing over like that. And then I'm gonna do a very similar shape with similar accent colors with a razor and leave it a little bit longer and a little bit softer so you guys can see the difference.
Beautiful.
Bill?
All right, guys, so I had the pleasure of using this model who was already pre-lightened. Don't we love models that come in like that? Yeah. So a lot of people know, well, what I'm inspired by a lot is color with intention. And I think so much now we've gotten used to just color melting everything on the hair. And what I would like to teach you guys today is maybe dialing it back a little bit, doing an all-over color. Boo. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm gonna teach you guys in like 10 foils how you can do something that will convert from like, say, red to green to something that has tones of like red, yellow, and orange.
Yeah.
We've got something like that. I want you guys to be able to have one model with 20 different looks that you do, whether it's curly and straight. And so this is just 3 sections. I used kind of like a coffin shaped right on the top of the head. I pick areas in the hair where the hair moves so that the more that it moves, the less work that you're gonna have to do to style it because it's gonna explode and expand. So when you're looking at the way that the hair is growing out of the head, like kind of look to see where it can naturally fall. Pick an area like that and start with just sectioning out like a square. So I did 3. She has a really deep side part naturally, so I did something that goes right underneath it, here. And I did Joico's red into fiery coral into yellow. I'll show you how I melt those colors together. And right on the top, I did one and right over here, just because she had so much hair on this side of the head, but I also wanted to make sure the color went down to her ends. Do you guys love it?
Yeah. Amazing.
Cool.
All right, so we're gonna have our models walk on up. They're gonna be walking around. You guys can dig in their hair.
If there's any room for them to walk.
Yeah, I know, right?
There might be a stair right there. Yeah. It's a chair, but they can do it.
That will do. Have a seat left. And yeah, dig in their hair. You can look for mistakes, which you will not see any, okay? And then you guys can just go ahead and come up and sit down after you're done. All right, so I'm gonna start with her. We're gonna do a hairigami technique. Who here has seen my technique at all? Awesome, awesome. Not many though, so that's good because you guys will literally get the education and inspiration, and you will save so much time with this technique. You guys will be able to cut your hair, your time doing the hair in half. If not half, at least cut down at least 30 minutes. Okay, so that way you can take in more clients, and with more clients, which means more money, all right? And let's be real, we all want that, okay? So I'm gonna be talking about my tools because without our tools, we can't do anything, all right? I'll be using the pop-up foils from Fermar. Who uses Fermar here in the house? Awesome, and if you don't, their Fermar booth is out there, and they're also in CosmoProf, but I highly, highly suggest you guys use their brushes and their pop-up foils, okay?
They're framazing.
Framazing.
For
Reason
real,
why I
from
love their brushes, because they are so smooth and silky. If you guys have used them, you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? This is the only brush I will ever balayage with. This is literally the only brush that we balayage with, right? And I will never go back, okay? Also, I'm gonna be using my Diane comb by Mepco, okay? I love it because it has wide teeth, so I'm gonna show you how to create baby lights so you don't have to weave in, and that takes forever, we all know that, okay? Yeah, right? And then I'm gonna be using Free Play Clay Lightener by Joico. I love it because it's gonna give me amazing lift. And she's already a natural 5. She has fine hair, so we don't need to go in with a harsher lightener. All right, so I'm gonna get started, and we'll see what we got going on.
All right, so I've gone ahead and pre-cut half of her head, just so you guys can kind of see. We don't have much time, so I wanted to do a little bit beforehand. So you can see what she came in with, right here. Very like kind of one-dimensional. It's pretty, but it's not doing a whole lot for her. It's not like accenting her head nicely and bringing out like the beauty in her, right? So what I did was take this side down just a little bit, right? So what we did to start was take diagonal forward sections that are almost vertical diagonal, and we're cutting at a 45-degree angle. And I'm over-directing only to my previous and creating a completely round shape, right? So I'm not gonna be pulling back because I'm gonna get too heavy in the corner. I'm gonna move around with my shape to the corner, and then I come to the front with a new guide and take diagonal backs and work 45 on the way back, and then we even decrease that weight in the corner just a little bit more. And I really love what that does for the color. She came in with a little bit of grow out, like natural grow out, and then pre-lightened ends, and I didn't want to re-lighten her because it would take a long time. No, but because I actually really like seeing that little bit of depth and darkness at the base. I think it kind of anchors the color down and makes things look a little bit more natural. And just like Phil said, we see a lot of that right now. And for all my pre-lightened girls that wear short hair, I'll pre-lighten them, they'll wear it all the way blonde. The next time they come in, I won't do it, and we'll take it down again, and they get that nice little like shadow of that grow out, which I really like. So I'm gonna start on the opposite side now. Actually, I'll start this way. You can probably see a little better. Look down just a little bit. I'm using a straight razor, right? So a razor with no guard, so no feather. And the way that I think about it is kind of like the difference between your scissor and your texturizing scissor. That when I'm using a straight blade, I kind of determine the lines, I determine the texture, I determine the weight that comes out. When I'm using a feather razor, it kind of dictates that a little bit more for me. So I can create shapes more fluidly, and I kind of like create everything customized for each section. So we're gonna take a diagonal section forward, that's almost vertical diagonal. Thinking about where we want our first bit of weight to lay. That's gonna be the most important part of this haircut, is where the first little bit of weight lays. So this is gonna be your design line for the rest of the haircut. We want it to sit just about below occipital. If it starts to sit a little higher than that, it's gonna flatten out the shape too much. And I wanna get this really beautiful question mark accent shape on her head, which I think is the profile of a woman is one of the most beautiful things in the world to me. And if you can accent that nicely, especially Larissa's, but if we can accent that nicely and accentuate the head shape, it's really gorgeous. But if it starts to flatten out too much right there, if I take that corner off at the top, then it's maybe looks a little bit more masculine and we'll just, deflate the shape a little too much. So this first section, make sure that it comes high enough that you're gonna be taking a little bit of hair from that design line. So it needs to come almost all the way from the top. We are going to elevate this hair from where it lives on the head straight out, using a little bit of guide from my previous side. And then with a very open blade at this point, I'm going to be cutting a 45-degree angle that is longer at the top and shorter at the bottom, so that those short hairs will lift those longer hairs up and create that graduated shape for me. I'm gonna continue through all the way, and you guys will see a little bit of repetition. And when I say open blade, it just refers to how much I'm moving the razor, right? So if I have a closed blade, I'm moving the razor only a little bit. I can create almost a strong straight line that way, or I can really open the blade up to create a lot of softness and remove more weight. And notice, it's in my fingers, it's not in my wrist, So this is your control right there. I suggest working with a guard with your straight razor at first, and when I first started, I put a Band-Aid on this finger and this finger even before I got cut. Just preemptively, because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna bleed, get a blood bag, hook me up, And that way, if you're tapping the Band-Aid. But when I first started, those Band-Aids looked like Swiss cheese when they were done. But once you have the control, you can almost tap your finger a little bit with it and not cut it. but it is incredibly sharp. I mean, it's sharper than any scissor, so keep that in mind. All right, so I'm just gonna keep on working through vertically this way.
All right, so are there any Joico users in the house? Yeah.
There's a Joico 12-step program that's gonna be after.
Yeah. I'll have to tell you, my #1 tip for working with intensities is I like to thin it out a little bit. Whether that's my preferred way to do that is by taking an Olaplex standalone treatment, just the water mixed with Olaplex, thin the color out, and it'll spread much more. You won't get any hollow spots. It'll be much shinier. So if you guys take anything away from me, take that. Hi-ya. No. So what I'm going to do here, I've sectioned her hair in 3 triangles. One, because I'm in the Illuminati, one right here, one right here, and one right here. So it's like kind of like a zigzag and then with a straight line in the back. The reason why, I wanted color that went all the way to the ends, and because I know that she has a lot of texture, I needed to find a shape that pointed or went some way towards the ends. If I put the lines in vertically, she's going to have vertical stripes. So what's the opposite of vertical stripes is like veils, and that's what I want. So that's what I'm going to be working with her whole color. And what I'm doing here is I'm doing 5 different foils. I have 3 colors. The first one's going to be, say, a light purple. The next one's going to be a dark purple, a medium purple mixed into the light purple, and it's going to go into the middle color. Then it's going to go the lightest, well, it's going to be, you'll figure it out as I go. Anyway.
He's just making it up.
There's 3 colors, and there's 1 color in between those that's just a color melt of those 2 colors, right? And the reason that I'm doing that is because when the colors lay on top of each other, I want it to look like when the first one lays on the second one, there's gonna be a lot of that dark color it's gonna have a lot of contrast and a lot of vibrancy, but it's gonna melt into the next color. And so it's gonna look like there's weight in different areas of the hair. So this is gonna be able to give you a lot of like action without a lot of work. And so I'm probably gonna do 7 foils in each section, and then I'm gonna color everything else with amethyst purple, which is like the craziest purple that I've ever used. Anyway, so.
Craziest?
Yeah, craziest. So the first section that I did was a medium purple. The next section that I do, I'm starting on the base with the amethyst purple and going right into the orchid, and then the next one is just gonna be a slice of amethyst purple. The next one's gonna be a slice of light purple mixed into amethyst, and then the last one would be light purple. Thank you. So we work on these models. We have very little time to lighten these. And how often is it that you guys need to work something really fast and have really healthy hair in the salon, right? When you're doing balayage, sometimes we need something stronger than 30 and 40 volume. Would it blow your mind if there was an 80 volume that was sitting right in front of you and you just didn't know it? What? I know, you could do anything.
It's gotta blow!
Yeah, hair could be like white. And so we use Trionics higher and higher in all of our presentations because it just helps us. That's not higher and higher.
I thought I gave you the right one.
Let's battle.
Yeah, and you know, that's what I use.
You're going down. You don't know.
Ow! Who won?
Flawless victory.
And you know, I use higher on her hair, and she has fine hair, and her hair still is so soft and so silky. And so Trionics, do not be afraid of 50 and plus or the higher and higher. Highly suggest it.
Yeah, this is like our jam.
Mm-hmm.
We can't work on our shows with as many models as we do and be so healthy at the same time without that stuff. So the other one that we brought was Enzyme Cocktail. It's the perfect one to overlay after you do any kind of pre-lightening. What that will do is do everything that Olaplex doesn't do, like the moisturization, the deep conditioning. You know, Olaplex is so good for like saving the hair from any kind of damage, and now this one that we're using as Enzyme Cocktail is like a super, super deep conditioner. There we go.
Awesome. So as you guys can see, I'm already like halfway through the back of her head, right? So fast. So this technique is insanely fast. Reason being is because I'm not dividing her hair into 2 sections, and most of us do that, correct? Because, you know, it's way too wide for the foil. So I created a foil technique that's called harigami for a reason. So how you create this technique or this foil is so simple. It's the pop-up foils by Fringe, okay? All you do is take one end of the other end and simply just crisscross them. So simple, right? And then I also take moon-shaped sections, so that way it can lay nice and close straight to the scalp, so that way she will get the most excessive heat that she needs for lifting. Amazing, right? Okay, so as you guys can see, I'm already done with how many sections? 2 sections. And what I'm doing is I'm painting the whole section, and then I'm going back in and creating baby lights with my comb, okay? That way you don't have to like weave it out and, do the extra work, because we don't got time for all that, right guys? Exactly. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm using my Fringe brush. I'm applying it on my glove, okay? Some people like to use palettes. I like to use the less stuff, the better in my hand. So for me, I just like to apply it on my hand, on my wrist, and that way I don't have to go back and forth, because that also wastes time. Over time, that will waste like what, at least 5-10 minutes, right? And time is what? Exactly, all right? So then, when I'm painting, what I really like about having it on my actual hand or on my wrist is because then I can actually take exactly the amount that I want, and that way it's gonna be nice and glide really nicely on the hair, because if I just grab it from here, it's gonna be a big old blob. And what you're gonna ask for what you're gonna be getting is a color correction, and that is the last thing you want, because that's gonna take way more time. All right, so there's many, many good reasons why I like to have it on my wrist. That's why I grab it on here a little bit. You don't want too much lightener on your brush, okay? You want almost nothing, all right? Always less is more, because you can always go back in and get more on the hair, all right? When you're applying on the hair, you're gonna apply very gradually and very softly, all right? So you're gonna do it with a flat brush, going all the way up, okay? Use your brush and just flatten it and paint away. If you need more, go right ahead. As I get closer towards the scalp, I'm gonna go against the grain, because going against the grain, it's already gonna give me almost like that slight tease effect, but also look, it's gonna give me a nice blended look without me even having to try. Do you guys see that, how it's nicely blended to the root? But because I wanna get even more of a nicer blend, I'm gonna go in with my handy dandy comb, the Diane comb, which all of these products, you guys, you can get at your local CosmoProf beauty store. And if they're not there for some reason, well, then you can get it here, or you can get it on Loxa, well, at least some of the products, okay? For example, like Celeb Lux. Who uses Celeb Lux here? If you guys don't, I always sell out in my salon. I'm obsessed with that stuff, especially for all my clients that are vivids like her. I would totally highly recommend getting a soft pink for her so she can take care of it at home. So if you don't have the app, CosmoProf app, download it. Loxa's in there, and Loxa will save your life, all right? Because then you could be like, hey, my client needs this, but I don't have it in the salon. Then you just order it for them, all right? So I'm gonna go back in with my comb, and I'm just gonna slightly comb it through. But what I do is I don't just go in and brush it through. I'm gonna angle it a little bit, and then I'm gonna just slightly think soft as a feather, light as a feather, and just slightly, slightly comb through. I can comb through all the way if I want baby lights all the way through, or for me, I want more of that like nice dimensional depth effect towards the middle. So as I go more towards the sides, I'm not combing through as high. So I'm only using maybe the first 2-3 teeth of the comb. You don't need to go in and use all of it, because you're gonna be wiping away a lot of your beautiful work. Now look at this, you guys. Look at those baby highlights in 2.3 seconds. Amazing, right? So quick. You don't ever have to go in and weave out the highlights ever again. How does that make you feel? Yes, amazing, all right? And then you're not gonna just press it down. You're not gonna pull the bottom down, okay? Because then it's really bent here, it's not smooth, and we all need a smooth palette to paint on, just like any canvas, okay? We are artists. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab my handy dandy comb, stick it in, and wiggle it out, all right? Again, wiggle it out as many times as you need in order for you to get that nice, smooth palette back again. And there you go. You're gonna do the same thing. If you want more depth and less balayage, then you're just gonna paint the top surface of the hair, leave the bottom alone. I want her to be as light as possible, so we're gonna be doing it all. We're gonna be doing the bottom and the top. If you do decide to only do a little bit of balayage, there's one section in the very top bottom section that we started. You're gonna wanna paint the bottom, because when she puts her hair up, she's gonna wanna see those baby lights, okay? All right, and I'm just gonna keep on doing what I'm doing.
All right, guys, so I'm basically finished with the other side of her head besides our detail work. And I don't know if you were able to see what I was doing, but like I said, we started out with these vertical diagonal forward sections, working around until we get to the corner. And then we come back to the front, switch our diagonal to be diagonal back, and work around as well. Now, if you've ever been cutting something like this, like if you're cutting like a pixie, right? Short round graduation is kind of my go-to for almost like any short feminine haircut that I want to do. And the reason I do that is because it moves and flows with the head shape a little bit better. And if we were to cut something square, it's going to create all these boxy corners for her, which is going to make her look a little bit just like stronger, where we want to make everything look soft and pretty, right? And we can only really take 3 different angles of sectioning. We can take a vertical section, we can take a horizontal section, or we can take a diagonal section, right? And those are going to do different things for us. We don't just take them arbitrarily. So if we take a vertical section and we elevate the hair and we cut, we're going to be taking off the corner and creating a flat shape, right? Something that's going to be layered and have no weight lines. If we were to take that same section diagonally and cut, we're going to be cutting a section that's going to move and contour and move with the head shape. The weight's going to follow the direction of the diagonal section that you took. And if we take something horizontally, then we're going to start building weight. Things are going to start getting heavier. We're going to create weight lines that way. So for her, I want there to be a slight weight line to follow the head shape. So I'm not going to come completely vertical, because then I know I'm not going to get any. It's going to flatten out. And I want it to flow this way. But one thing I want to make sure I don't do is increase my over direction too much. I need to make sure that my elevation is high and that I'm working round throughout the head. If I'm here and I start to drop my sections, you'll notice that you'll get this heavy weight that'll start to come through there. Have you ever had that happen to you when you're trying to cut a pixie? You have one side, maybe like the right side looks really good, and the left side, you're like, oh man, or reverse that. And the other side is just like a little bit heavier, a little bit bulky. If you see weight right there, if you're on my team, answer this question. If you see weight, elevate, right? So if you see weight, elevate. You want to elevate the hair and look for a corner, and you can soften that corner off. So it's not a terrible thing if you dropped your elevation a little bit. It's a little bit easy to fix, right? So our last couple sections, we start to over-direct to the corner. So we're bringing everything over to the corner this way to increase the weight that we have in the very back of her head, which is something that's going to give us that nice contour and question mark shape, right? And then what we're going to do is drop down the top of this section here. And when I'm cutting with a razor, I tend to not elevate the hair too high on the top. Like I see some people up here and cutting layers like this, right? Which is cool. I've seen some beautiful haircuts done that way, but I'm just like, I am gonna cut my wrist off, you know? And I always feel like it almost bounces and pulls a little bit. So I want to cut what is kind of referred to as like a bias shape, where it's working off of steep angles and everything's getting a little bit short to long, but crisscrossing, moving forward to, once again, accent the head shape. But how can I do that if I'm not lifting it up and angling it? I'm going to use my razor and use a lower elevation to really create graduation, but when it's pushed from side to side, it's going to appear to be like a layer, right? Because I'm going to cut it low, but when it moves, like let's say we held everything down to here and cut a one-length line. If you were to lift that up, the line actually looks like that, right? Like if you cut a one length and elevate the hair, you've got a graduated line. So we're going to do that on both sides, taking crisscrossing diagonal sections and working short to long towards the front to preserve length in the front, and you'll have a little bit of disconnection here to kind of play with and move around. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started.
We are right into the top of the section. There are 2 things that I want to encourage you guys to do. A, control your consistency, because you can work with direct dyes in a completely different way if you have control. I preferably, I use a lot of Joico, so I like my color to be like a Vero consistency, or like plain yogurt, all right? Not Chobani, just the regular Dana.
No
this
fruit at the
is going
bottom.
to allow you to be able to foil without having to massage the color to get it to penetrate, because it's thinner, right? This is gonna save so much of your time. When it penetrates better, it becomes shinier because it has more saturation and more even saturation. So what happens at the end of the day, what's the most important, that these colors last a really long time. And if you do that, this will happen. So if you make it a little too thick, you can add some really deep conditioning products like Color Proof in the purple one. I love that one. But what I wanted to say is, when you're doing this and you're having different sections, the most unique thing about her hair here is that on one side of her head, the colors go from yellow on the bottom, orange to red. On the opposite side, it does the same thing, but it was supposed to be the other way. I got lost. No, but I would encourage you guys to switch it up so that when person flips their head from side to side, they look completely different. You don't have to match the foils. Like if you're doing foil work, maybe, right? Is that a good idea?
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah, she knows it. Different side to side. So once again, do one color, then your next foil is your second color melted into your first color, then your next foil is just your second color. Your next foil is going to be your first color on the top with your second color in the middle. So just go back and forth, and then your fifth foil is going to be just that first color that you choose. So doing that and remembering to not always matchy-matchy, okay, will give you something that you can work with different. And I do a lot of photography, and that's probably the best advice that I can give you. Control your consistency and don't try to match everything all the time.
Awesome. So I'm on the very top section now in the back, and obviously her section is not shaped in a moon anymore. So we created this thing called the UFO, all right? And I'm going to teach you how to do that, so that way you can still have that really consistent foil that will touch exactly to the root, and that way she can have that beautiful, beautiful lift, all right? So let me show you the top the top baby lights and how they look. So I can literally bring this down as much as I want, but I want her to have a little bit of dimension here and then a lot of blonde brightness in the middle, okay? So that's why I'm not bringing it down as much. I'm still doing it more into a V, almost like we would do like a balayage or a highlight effect, but instead I'm just doing it with my baby lights. So this is I can't get enough of this. Like, it's so beautiful. It doesn't bleed through. And you don't only have to use the Free Play clay lightener. You know, for me, I normally use like Schwarzkopf Blonde Me lightener because it gives me the most lift, in my opinion. And I always use Olaplex as well. And I think everyone should be using Olaplex here in the house because it's epic and amazing. Let's be real, we know that. And so I'm going to show you how to do the moon or the UFO. Okay, because it looks like a UFO, so it's kind of cool. All you're going to do is you're going to fold one side of the foil, the other side of the foil, and then just bend the top, and it looks like a UFO. All right? You're going to place it right on top. I know I should be American Idol, right? I sing really good. All right? Place it right on top. See how beautifully that just hugs it? And bam, did the back in like, 20 minutes or something? I don't know, and we're teaching. So this actually could be much, much quicker for you, okay? I also took thick sections, because like I said, I wanted to have that depth and dimension in between. But you can take thinner sections, and it really just depends on your client, because some clients have insane amount of hair. So you're gonna have to take way more sections than on her. Her hair's more finer, thank God. So it makes my life so much easier, all right? And we're gonna start on this side. What are you up to, Jacob?
All right, so I'm working in a fringe for her. And like I said, she came in with like a bob that had a straight across bang that was a bit grown out. So I think that she has like killer eyebrows, like beautiful eyes. So I want to set this line.
Stop flirting with her.
A little bit. I can't, it's a problem. But so I want to set this line a little bit higher. I don't want to cover up her eyebrows. I want my lines to kind of accent and frame the best parts of my clients, right? We used to think about a one length as just like a way to set length, as far as like, maybe the one length's here or here or here. But a one length or a line has a use, just like a layer or a graduation does. Like layers remove weight, graduation builds weight, and a line creates a frame and draws the eye. So if I was like, okay, you don't have nice eyebrows, maybe we'll put your right down here, you know? Or it's like, oh, you're super busted, we'll put it right down there. No. So, and for her, I think that's really nice. If we want to accent, for hers, I think she has wonderful cheekbones. If you would mind looking to your left for me. So when I, it's always,
He just does not stop, does he?
When I took this sideburn piece off, I wanted to use the cheekbone as an accent for that, right? So I'm using the lines of her face to create the lines of my haircut. So nothing should be too arbitrary when we're cutting hair, right? Everything has purpose. Everything has a meaning, right? It's design. It's just like another form of design. You don't want to be like, oh, why did you do that? You need to have a reason for why. So for this, I took horizontal sections, brought everything forward, and closed my razor down just a little bit more because I don't want it to be too wispy in the front. And I use the same guide from underneath each time. And you want to make sure that you see your guide. We have a rhyme that we say, about guides, when in doubt, chicken out, right? If you don't see your
I
guy.
thought it was cut it out.
Well, that's about cowlicks.
Oh.
When in doubt, cut out a cowlick.
Him and his
But-
rhymes.
And don't get those two
But
confused.
the interesting, when in doubt, chicken out. When you don't see your guide, don't cut anything. A girl that works in my salon named Monica, she came up with her own. It's, if you don't see your guide, close your eyes and let it ride. And you're like, oh, it looks good. Okay, so I'm finished. I could come back and do a little bit of detail work around the edges with my scissors just to make sure that we don't have anything that's too wispy or too long. But I'm going to go ahead and start with my finish and my style, and we'll see what Phil's doing over there.
All right, I've gone right into the other side. I'm doing the opposite color pattern that I did. Now, these are all purples. I think that we chose these colors just because it would look great on her skin, but a lot of times, don't be afraid to add an accent like bright yellow or green or blue or something like that. I feel like a lot of times we get so scared of things. If you're scared, just put it in a horizontal, like look where the hair goes. If the hair goes down, like add a cross section like a T to it and put something there and it'll veil. The only problem is if somebody has a lot of texture, you might see like lines. So that's why I'm varying what I'm doing in the foil. So there's a little bit of a color melt in between a slice. Does that make sense? And so if I were to choose another color for her, a green would have been a great color, like a lime green, maybe something like a sky blue. But we wanted to go with something that really flattered her skin and was just nice and cool. But the really great thing about a technique like this is it shouldn't take you that long to put in the foils. And if your next client walks in and you're in the middle of a service, all you've got to do is put these in and have your assistant finish the all-over color application, which is probably going to happen. Thank you very much, Honeybee. And that's it. Just remember, if you want lines, create lines. If you don't want lines, go diagonally or go do the opposite. I'm never afraid of a mistake because oftentimes mistakes in the salons just need to be turned sideways and it'll totally take your mistake away or give you a totally different effect. That's all.
Okay, so I'm almost done with the front. But I kind of want to ask a personal question before I start on the other side and let you guys know what I'm doing. Who here is a newer stylist, either been in the industry for only 2 years or still a student? Awesome, that's amazing. Who here thinks that it can be a struggle getting up there, getting your social media up there, and thinking this is a really hard industry to be in? You know what? Me too. Me too. You think that we just got up here and we're like, la, 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 it was so easy, everything was handed to us? No. I'm originally from Ukraine. I'm a foreigner. Ukrainians in the house, that's awesome. Привет. And, you know, I moved to America when I was 6, and it was not an easy thing to be in this industry because my parents were very foreign, or are very foreign. They wanted me to do the typical, you know, be a nurse or whatever, which I have so much respect for, but that's not me. I'm an artist, and I knew that I needed to follow my dream. How? I had no idea. So what I'm trying to say to you is, I know right now probably you might be feeling like, dang, it was probably so easy for them to be up here. I wish I could be there. But you know what? You guys totally can be up here. How you do it is with just perseverance, hard work, hustle, getting your name out there, social media, putting yourself out there to other brands, and never stop working because nothing was handed to us. But we got here in a certain way because we worked hard for it, all right? So all I'm saying is, thank you. All I'm saying is, if I can do it with my parents not wanting me to be a hairdresser, still not, surprisingly, you know. I'm like, hey, Dad, I'm going to be teaching at the show. Okay, so did you go to church today? That's basically what it is, you know. Yeah, but the point is that, you guys, if I can do it, if we can do it, you so can do it, and there is so much hope for you too, okay? Thank you. All right, so I'm going to be finishing up on this section. This is a really fine section, so I'm actually just going to do the top. And then I'm going to show you guys on the other side exactly what I did because the back from the front is its own identity, all right? Let me just finish this up really quick. Look, I mean, we've been talking, we've been doing the thing, and I am almost done with her whole head of color, all right? Also, as you can tell, all her foils are away from her face, and that is really, really important. I think it's so important to have your client be comfortable, but also have that luxurious experience. There's nothing worse than having foils in front of their heads. Okay? So let me just show you the side, or at least sections, so you guys know how to do the front. All right? We're gonna be taking the first section, the bottom section, and we're gonna do diagonal forward. What do you guys think? When she pulls her hair back, that way she'll have all those beautiful baby highlights, okay? So that will be her first section. Also, because you can pull away from the face. Next section, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do diagonal back. Diagonal back, yes, I always get confused. That way, when you're painting up, she's gonna have all those baby lights when she pulls her hair back, all right? And then you're gonna do the side, you're gonna do the money piece, always make it thicker. And then this side, you're gonna do the front, both sides if you want or not, but always remember to pull everything away from the face.